The New Zealand conference preview for Super Rugby 2020. It's always a difficult one predicting who's going to end where in New Zealand, but this time around it's going to be difficult once more, if not even more difficult. The 2019 conference standings looked a little bit like this, with the Crusaders and the Hurricanes close to each other at the top. Then a bit down from that, we had the Chiefs and the Highlanders, and then at the bottom we had the Blues. This year all could change, with a lot of big names leaving the country at the moment, and then also some big names transferring from one team to another. If you want to check out any of the other conference previews, it will be linked up here. Otherwise, this is what I think will happen in the conference in alphabetical order. With the Blues, we're starting first. So every season we get our hopes up with the Blues. Every year we think the Blues, it might be their year. It is their time this year, but every time they kind of disappoint us. But this time around, even the bookies are with us. They are predicting the Blues are the fifth favorite team to win the Super Rugby in 2020. It's probably down to Barrett signing for the team, but I don't know. He's only arriving in April. He's only starting to play for them in April after having a bit of a longer break. They do have other big signings as well, but I don't know. I think maybe it could happen. They have a strong side though. Their front pack, as always, is pretty strong. Not the best, but they are still strong. But a good thing for them, they haven't lost any real big names up front. They are especially strong in the loose forwards. The back line though, they are always good. Maybe the same situation of they're not the best, but they're always good. But they've always missed a big number 10, a good playmaker in the park. They have a world-class playmaker at the moment now, with Barrett coming in, like I said, from April. They lost some big players though, or some good players though. They lost Pulu, Nonu, Sunnyball Williams, and Nanai. So big losses in the back line. No big losses in the front back though. So for me, until Barrett gets there, the team looks pretty average though until April. So I don't know how you can say they are going to be a very strong team without Barrett, because I mean, guys like Otere Black and Plummer, they haven't been very great. Perafeta, he missed out last season due to injury. I liked him in the season before that though, so hey, let's see, maybe the guys do improve a bit. The goal kicking has been a problem with the main problem I have with the number 10s for the Blues. They also brought in Marchant from the English. He's the young 23-year-old centre, and I think he has a bright future ahead of him. So it's going to be great to see him tearing it up in the Southern Hemisphere. Next up it is the Chiefs. Look, last year they had a ton of injuries, including a massive one to Damien McKenzie, which made him miss out the entire season. But with those injuries, they had 7 wins, 2 draws and 7 losses. So a very balanced 50-50 season. They still made playoffs though. So hey, with all those injuries, they still had a good team. Now with all the injuries back and Warren Gatland especially coming in, everyone has a high expectation for the Chiefs this year. They are tipped as contenders for the title. They are the second best team this year for the title, as the bookies have them. But they haven't lost too many big names. The only real big one you can maybe highlight is Retallick. He's irreplaceable. You can't find a guy to replace him. But the other guys, Marty McKenzie, Jack Debrasini maybe, Stephen Donald, big names, big players, but they are replaceable at the end of the day. They did sign Cruden, very big name as well, to bring in. The back line is going to be interesting with Weber, Cruden, Anton Leonard-Brown, Damien McKenzie. All these guys in the back line is going to be great. I can't wait to see this Chiefs side run like a Chiefs side should. It's going to be great, and I think the Chiefs do have a good chance this season. Next up, it is the Crusaders. Obviously, the Crusaders won last season, but a lot of fans of the Crusaders are actually writing them off or having less than positive vibes for the team. Look, the team has been hit hard by transfers and big names leaving the club, but it is still the Crusaders. I mean, the Crusaders, every year they bring in young guys that you've never heard of before. Well, from a South African perspective, like Sevu Reece, Jordan, Eno. These guys, I didn't even know who they were before last season. Now I can't ever forget about them. So, as always, they didn't bring in big names, but hey, they can do it once again. Last year, they won the competition. They had the highest average points per game for any team and the most running meters per game as well. So losing the big names like Franks, Whitelock, Taufua, Todd, very, very strong in pulfers or winning the balls at rucks. Reed, Crotty, and Dag, who was actually out a bit earlier in the season due to his retirement. But the names they brought in, no real guys stand out for anyone from other countries like I am. But they have a lot of New Zealand schools players and New Zealand under 20 players. So it's promising guys coming in through basically the Canterbury ranks. So it's guys that are basically coming into the system of the Crusaders. They were always headhunted to go there. So I think it is good for them. They always trust in their young guys and they have always delivered. Loose forwards can be a difficult one though for the Crusaders. They lost big names up there. Like I said, Tafua, Todd, Reed, that is a whole loose forward combination. But the backline is still strong. Guys like Bryn Hall, Mahunga, Goodhue, Reese, Eno, all those guys are still there. So still a strong team. The Crusaders fans might be a little bit negative losing all those big names, but still, you still have a very strong side up here, and I still think they can do well. Next up, it is probably the New Zealand underdogs this year. It is the Highlanders, and you can see why they might be listed as underdogs in the New Zealand conference by a lot of people. They did lose Ben Smith, Naolo, Squire, Dixon, Whitelock, Lomax, Yimopo, Buckman, Faddis, and more. So they've lost a lot of big players, and the players that they've bought isn't real big names. The biggest names they probably brought in is Parete and Hunt from the Chiefs and Crusaders respectively. So Aaron Smith is going to be very important once again this season. He's 32 years old now, so look, he can still do it. He's still world class, still one of the best in the world. It's just he's basically the only standout player in that team now. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. So I think with this team, we'll see great glimpses at times. I mean, it's the New Zealander side. It's the Highlanders. They love running with the ball. They're good at it. But I don't think they're going to reach very high heights this season. Maybe the next season they are building a youthful team. But nothing spectacular this season. Next up, it is the Hurricanes. They had the most wins in the regular season last year with 12 wins in the regular season. The team ranks high in all types of running stats, but they also do well with kicking as well. They rank high there as well. So they don't like having the ball in their own territory. They like kicking it down the field and running with the ball there. But the big but over here is they didn't do well last season every time Beauden Barrett was rested. And this season they have to go with him completely. He's out of the Hurricanes. He left. So I don't know what they're going to do without him. They didn't really buy any number 10s that you would say, okay, this guy is definitely up to it. He can do the job. But other big names that they lost as well. Tumaga Allen is a big name. Rayasi, he left for the Sevens. Proctor, Beauden Barrett, as I said. And then big one is the coach, John Plumtree. He left. He's the assistant coach now for the All Blacks. So that's a big loss for them. But still, they have a big team, a strong team. They have Sevilla in the team, even though he's injured for 4 to 6 months. Still, hopefully he can get recovered soon, because I love seeing him play. I probably watch the Hurricanes to see him and Laumape play. Laumape, Huesen, Perenara, Ben Lam, Geordie Barrett, big names that's still in the side. So they can still do it. They still have a pretty strong side. It's just going to see who's going to replace Beauden Barrett at number 10. They also bought one big player, in my opinion. They bought Tyrell Lomax from the Highlanders. He's an All Black. He's played one cap, and he's definitely going to get more matches playing with the Hurricanes. He's definitely going to get more All Black caps. And then Booth also brought in from the Sunwolves. I think this is a great buy. I loved seeing how Booth plays. He's that terrier type of scrum half, loves running around the edges of scrum. So I think him replacing Perenara in the second half, great player to have in the side. And they are still third favourites to win the competition. So the Hurricanes might have lost a lot of big names, but they are still tipped off to win the title. So in the New Zealand conference, 4 of the sides are in the top 5 predicted teams to win this year's title. So it's a pretty important conference as always. And it is the tightest one as always as well. I think the Crusaders will still get the number 1 spot in this conference, even if a lot of people are saying maybe the Chiefs are gonna get it and the Crusaders are gonna drop this season. I think they'll still get it with their coaching staff and how they play. They'll just continue and go on with it. Number 2, though, I do pick the Chiefs. They have a lot of influence coming in with Cruden, and then especially Warren Gatland, the coach. He's back in New Zealand. He's going to make a big difference. Number 3 for me, Hurricanes. They might not have any Bowden Barrett, but they are still a strong team. Number 4 is the Blues. They are off the bottom, according to me. They do have Bowden Barrett on the other hand, even though it is only from April. It's not an April Fool's joke. They do still have him. Don't know how the hell they got it right, but they have him. And it's going to be an amazing season for them. When he gets there. Until then, they might struggle. They have guys like Marchant also bought in the side, but further than that, not real standout players. And then number 5, I have the Highlanders. The team really doesn't look like you can compare it to any of the other New Zealand sides. The other sides really just look a lot better on paper. So yeah, that's what I think. But hey, it's a New Zealand conference. Everything can go up to shreds if you predict it. So it's a difficult one, especially if the Crusaders have a typical season, not like last season, and have a weak start. Guys, let me know your prediction for how you think it's going to end. Let me know what you are the most excited for to see in this conference. Also, check out any of the other predictions I've made or the other conference videos I've made. And also my top 15 transfers video. Awesome video to watch. There's big transfers this season. And then I'll check you for the next video. Cheers.